Start at www.kubi.pl in 91 languages in chapter TS001. Nelson Horatio. The Celts worshipped the sun. Horatio Nelson was a meager boy. He pleaded with his uncle to let him sail on the ship, where his uncle became captain. Uncle, like uncle, allowed it to happen despite the opinion that on the first occasion a cannonball would smash his head and they would lose the boy. Although he was part of the captain's team, he suffered all inconveniences and had to sleep on a 35 centimeters wide hammock, get used to unpleasant odors and perform the dirtiest activities on the ship. His career started from the very bottom. Thanks to his uncle's protection, which was normal at the time, he was quickly promoted from lieutenant to captain. He served in the Baltic and the North Sea. In the West Indies, he met a young widow. He married her and returned to England. They live in Norfolk. Nelson was unemployed. He needed a war. In 1793, the war with France. Finally, he became commander of Agamemnon, the smallest vessel in the fleet. The crew liked him. He was offered a larger ship but declined while remaining with his crew. In August 1794 at the Battle of Calvin he had to face Napoleon. This ground battle, one of the few, had robbed him of an eye. The first time he showed tactical genius was when he disobeyed orders and refused to perform conventional actions. Together with 3 ships, he slipped out of line and attacked the enemy. It could have ended for him in a court-martial, but Nelson was confident in his tactics and won. During the Battle of St. Ambrose escape, the tactic was to capture the next ship to advance to the next. He lost his arm off the coast of Costa Rica. He was learning to write again. He thought he would never return to the fleet and his career hung in the balance. He became the one-eyed and one-armed rear admiral with gray hair and an empty sleeve pinned to his jacket. He adored his wife Fanny. In 1799 he stood near Alexandria at the mouth of the Nile. The battle took place instantly. And up close, the distance dictated the range of the guns. The battle lasted 2 nights and a day. Nelson defeated the French ships one by one and made a direct big victory. In Naples, he met a young married woman, and their passionate romance turned into a lasting, strong relationship. Emma Hamilton looked after and delighted Nelson. She gave him what Fanny's wife couldn't give. The year 1799 began their romance. "Without you, I don't feel like eating or breathing. I'm out of breath." Emma was pregnant and the 3 of them eventually moved in with Fanny's wife. It was a huge scandal, and the official introduction of Emma to Nelson and Fanny's house outraged everyone. They then came up with the famous Nelson Code with Emma, only so that they could write letters to each other by official mail and not be exposed to their minds being read by Fanny or other outside eyes. Nelson and Emma's baby was the most important thing now. Lady Nelson peeled his nuts, but Nelson pushed them away with such force that his wife cried out. Nelson had his first child with his lover Emma, a daughter, Horatia. Nelson did not recognize the child officially, but the name Horatia could not raise any doubts. During the battle with the Spanish fleet, he began to see with his right eye again. Calm. In 1805 a final clash between France and England became inevitable. He was headed towards Trafalgar. The fleet was far less powerful than the combined forces of Spain and France. "You must crush the parsley and peppercorns in a mortar if you have one." He dismissed his officers for hours. He even coined the concept, Nelson attack. Destruction of the French and Spanish fleets. He dictated his will in which he entrusts his daughter to England. The famous words he spoke to the soldiers then, "England expects everyone to do their duty to the best of their ability. Separate the fleets of France and Spain from each other." Then it was about getting ship after ship. Nelson's strategy was a complete success. The unconventional technique and courageous moves were possible thanks to the charisma he managed to develop among his surroundings. He pinned all the orders, dictated the will, prepared his coffin. He called one of the officers to do his last will. He sailed to Trafalgar with his private affairs in order. His ship moved forward. Officers advised him to stay behind, but Nelson wanted to be at the heart of the battle. A bullet pierced his left shoulder and damaged his spine. At the hour of his death, the admiral asked Captain Harvey to kiss him. In the Victorian era, that was an embarrassing request. He wanted affection and knew he was dying. The victory at Trafalgar was a tactical championship. The French surrendered. Nelson's body arrived in London preserved in brandy. The sailors drank brandy straight from Nelson's coffin, considering it an honor and a seizure of strength from their great leader. Start at www.kubi.pl in 91 languages in chapter TS001.